We're looking specifically for love, relationships, dating, sex, those kind of questions. So, I'm going to answer just a few of them that you guys had. Here's the first one. A couple of people wrote this. When is the right time to start dating? And then someone else wrote this. Does everyone have the same age that they should start dating? So, as a father, the right time to start dating is when you are 35, girls. And boys, never. No, I'm just kidding. No, I think that's really something that you have to talk about with the people who love you the most. That would be your family. And I think it depends on who you are. Here's the thing, is once you start dating someone, it changes your relationship. And I would say the only person you want to date is going to be your best friend. And so just focus on being best friends and hanging out and enjoying life together. And then, if after being best friends for more than 48 hours, you decide, hey, I really think that you are really fun. Would you be interested in dating or going out together, or being exclusive, or Facebook official, or Instagram official? Whatever you kids say nowadays. But I would say, it just depends on who you are and where you're at. I would say become friends and best friends before anything else. Also, do you learn about sex at school? Well, hopefully, yes. Usually in 5th grade, you guys have some kind of week-long deal on health. It's kind of like, hey, you should wear deodorant, and you're going to be going through some changes. And then later on in 8th grade, there's usually a short section on that. And then when you go into high school, you'll take a health class that will also talk about sexuality and stuff like that.
Sex ed.
Yeah, or sex ed, sex education. So there you go. That you do learn about it at school, but most people are so embarrassed and intimidated about it. What they hear about is just what their lame friends are saying, and their lame friends are hearing from an older brother or sister. Anyway. The best people to hear about it is from your parents, but I know how awkward that is for you. And if you think it's awkward for you, trust me, it's awkward for your parents. But hopefully your parents love you enough to want to talk about this kind of stuff. Next thing, why do we think sex is nasty whenever it's brought up? Well, not everyone thinks that it's nasty. I think a lot of times parents are afraid of you guys making dumb decisions before you're ready to. And so parents, without thinking about it, they're just like, yes, you shouldn't do sex. Sex it's bad, It's not good to do. When in actuality, it's great for you. It's a lot of fun. But when you're married, it is. I don't know what to tell you. It's awesome. But it's awesome in the right context. And we talked about that in the first week, that in God's context, the way God has designed it, it's awesome. Outside of God's context, not so awesome. So there you go. Sorry to embarrass everyone.
Yes.
All right. Next question. Since God wants us to stay pure until married, I want to find someone who wants that too. That's not a question, but I think that is awesome and beautiful. And that's our desire for you as well. And the last thing, let's talk about really heavy-hitting questions. This person I so appreciate, because they're talking about the real stuff. Here it is. How did Pokemon reproduce? Yeah. Well, you have to take your Pokemon to the daycare, and they're matched up, and then you'll sprout an egg. The daycare's husband or mom will sprout an egg, and then you have a baby Pokemon. So there you go. All right. So with that out of the way.
That's amazing.
With that out of the way, I would love to answer more of your questions next week. And we'll be straight with you and honest and real with you. So any questions you have, nothing's off limits. And there's still, so in case you don't have any questions, we still have some questions left over from before. But if you're thinking of something, we would love to answer that. So let me pray for you, and then we're going to jump in to our message today. Really excited to share with you. God, thank you for this morning. Thank you for your incredible love for us. Thank you that you experienced what it's like to be a middle schooler when you lived here on earth. And just pray that you would speak through me and through our small group times today, that we would really be challenged to value what you value. We love you. Amen. All right. So, like 18 months ago, I got on this kick of trying to lose a bunch of weight. And part of me losing weight had to do with me eating protein shakes, right? So in our house, we had this blender, but it was like this giant ordeal every time I was making a cup, literally just a cup of a protein shake, this giant glass thing. I would have to clean it every day. It was heavy, it was a hassle, it was really, really loud. And then for my birthday, my sweet wife bought me this.
Tiny blender. It's a light bulb.
This is called the Magic Bullet. The Magic Bullet, it's really awesome because you just put your ingredients in here, then you screw it in, and then you put it in there, and then bam, it's a magic, and you have your thing, and you have so little to clean. So awesome. No, it works. It's not plugged in, Hunter. So here's the deal. So once I was having shakes, this was so helpful to me. But then Jen was like, Jen, if you don't know, that's my sweet wife. She was like, hey, we should make Maverick some shakes. And so she started making some shakes. And then our other children were like, well, we like shakes too. We would like some, can you make us some smoothies? And so my wife cannot say the word no. It's really sad. So she says yes, and the kids start using the Magic Bullet, right? But, as kids do, they wreck it, right? They dropped it, they like, you would unscrew, they would leave junk in here, they'd make a mess, right? And I'm just so annoyed and frustrated. And then, like I said, they broke it, so then it was like super loud, and it wasn't fun to use anymore. So, my sweet wife bought this ridiculous thing. She bought the Ninja. Now, this is like going backwards for me. I don't want to clean a big thing right here, but hopefully it's our kids aren't going to wreck it, right? So, but for me, I'm like, I don't even want that thing. Like, to me, it was frustrating because it became useless because it wasn't working right, so it had no value to me. I'm like, okay, that's lame. But then we got this, I'm like, okay, but this is not what I want. I don't want to clean a big deal, right? So, I returned the broken Magic Bullet and got a new Magic Bullet. Now, there is a significant change in this Magic Bullet than the other one, and that's a label here. At the very top, it says, Mom, there's a skull and crossbones to make sure my children know I mean business. It says, skull and crossbones, Mom and Dad only, please, skull and crossbones, right? So, now it is only for use, really, for me, because Jen doesn't use it. She uses this ridiculous contraption, right? So now we have both of these things. And here's the point. I could care less about this thing. This thing, oh my gosh, it's got suction feet. That's just so lame. Like this thing, I could care less about it. It has no value or worth to me because I have the Magic Bullet, right? So this is all I really, really care about. And you're probably thinking, what does this have to do with what we are talking about today? Well, today we're talking about values. And so the first thing is, what makes something valuable to us is usually this. You know, if something helps us, it is valuable. If something adds something to our life, it is valuable. Valuable meaning it's extremely useful or important. So like my Magic Bullet, to me, very, very helpful, useful, right? It can help me. It's kind of how you guys feel about your cell phones, right? So if you don't have a cell phone, you're like, I cannot wait to get a cell phone. Oh my gosh, that will add to my life. It would be so valuable. It would help me connect with my friends. It would be amazing, right? If I just had an iPhone X, whatever, it would be amazing. It's valuable to you. When something doesn't help us, it becomes worthless, like the broken Magic Bullet, or this ridiculous Ninja thing, right? To me, it has no value, right? It's worthless. It's extremely useless or unimportant. My kids can break the thing. I don't care. I just don't let them touch my Magic Bullet, right? Because that thing is very, very important to me. Now, this cell phone at one point was very, very important. 5 years ago, or 6 years ago, when the iPhone 4S came out and you could talk to this magic genie called Siri, people waited in line for days for this phone. Of course, now, you could care less about an iPhone 4S, especially after Gene Miller broke it with a hammer, right? I mean, it still works, but but you'd rather have a better phone, right? So for many of you guys, you're like, I guess I would take that if I had no choice, but to me, it's not nearly as valuable as a new phone or a better smartphone, right? It's useless, it's unimportant. So here's the deal. Can you imagine, what would it be like if we actually treated people the same way we treated things, right? What if we determined the value of human beings the same way we determine the value of stuff? And you're like, that is ridiculous. We would never do that. We would never decide if people are worth it based on how useful they are to us or how valuable they are to us. We would never do that, except we do it all the time. If someone can help us become more popular or become cooler or add something to our life, then they are valuable to us. If someone can't add any value to us, if they can't make us more popular or give us what we need or help us or we don't like them, then to us we feel like, yeah, that person is not valuable. Kind of like Amy White. So Amy White was this girl. I was in 7th grade. And it was finally getting like cool. I was like getting into like the popular kids, the hangout kids, the kids that I was like, man, if I could be part of that group, it would be awesome. So I started hanging out with this group, and then this one day, this 6th grader calls me over, and she's like, hey, Ken. And I'm like, oh, people know me. This is awesome, right? So I stroll on over to her. She's like, hey, come on over here. And I'm like, all right, this is awesome. She's like, hey, give me your hand. I'm like, okay, what's up? And she writes down 3 magic words. She writes, I like you. I'm like, okay. She like writes it and folds it up. She's like, okay, see you later. And I'm like, oh, all right, babe. Yeah. And then I look over her and I'm like, oh my gosh, she likes me. She likes me. I didn't even know her name, but all of a sudden I liked her. Right? I'm like, whoa, what is your name again? I really like you. Found out that was Amy White, right? So that whole weekend, we spent the weekend together. We started dating. We were boyfriend, girlfriend. It was awesome. Until Monday, when I was hanging out with her and my friends called me over. They're like, hey, Ken, hey, is that your girlfriend? I'm like, yeah, dude, she's awesome, right? And they're like, yeah, but she's a 6th grader. I'm like, yeah? So? They're like, you're a 7th grader. You can't be dating 6th graders. I'm like, oh, yeah, what was I thinking, right? I went right over there and broke up with Amy White, right? Because she added nothing to value to my life at that point. I was so shallow, right? It's so lame. I know you guys would never do something like that. But I did, right? Because to me, it was like, our relationship isn't valuable to us. We do it all the time. You know, if there's someone that doesn't offer us value, someone that doesn't bring joy to our life, someone that doesn't help us or encourage us or make us more popular, we start treating them like a broken iPhone. You know, when people aren't valuable to us, we're willing to talk behind their backs. We're willing to ignore them. We're willing to make fun of them. When we don't find someone valuable to our lives, we're willing to call them names, to bully them, to do all kinds of stuff that we normally wouldn't, judging them, unfriending them. When people aren't valuable to us, we're willing to do terrible things to them because they don't matter. They're useless to us. And you're probably thinking, isn't that a little extreme, that they're useless to us, that they don't matter? Well, people like that, they'll push physical boundaries. If someone looks at you and then they don't value you, when you're in a relationship with someone who doesn't value you, they'll try to get what they want out of your relationship. So, for example, hopefully when you're dating, you have some kind of conversation where you talk about physical touch and say, hey, here's what I'm comfortable with, here's what I'm not comfortable with, I don't want to do this. Whether it's like, hey, you know, the most I want to do is hugging, or kissing, or pecking, please don't lick my face, you know, whatever it is. With that, you create this line. Well, someone who doesn't value you is always pushing that line, right? So someone that doesn't value someone is someone that would ask you to send a picture of yourself. And what they do, they don't value you, but they value a part of your body. And they're like, hey, send me that picture or whatever. That is someone that does not value. They don't look at you like a normal person with worth. They look at you as a thing or an object. And here's why it's so difficult. You guys live in a culture where you guys find that your value is based on how many followers you have, how many comments you receive, how many likes you get. You'll even follow other people just so they will follow you, so you'll have more followers. You will comment on other people's stuff and say stuff like, oh, that's so cute, or hey, that's so awesome, in hopes that they will return the favor and go to you and say those same things about you. And so you have this whole idea that your self-worth is based on these other things, and yet again, is that where real value comes from? Because the hard part is, as soon as you don't have enough followers, or someone has more likes or more comments or more friends, then you feel like, okay, so I guess I'm not as valuable as someone else. And when you feel like you aren't valuable, when you don't feel like you have worth, you're willing to give into someone that is pushing you for boundaries. You're willing to send a picture because you don't value yourself. You're like, hey, this person values me because they want me to send a picture. They like me, but really that person doesn't value you. They don't like you. They like a part of you, which isn't really you. So why does this matter? Here's the deal. Why this matters is because the health of your relationships is determined by how you value one another. And so we want to encourage you to value what God values. If you value what God values, you will see your relationships be healthy and enjoyable and fun and deep. And we get this idea from Jesus because he was so revolutionary, so different. He truly valued what God valued, and it changed the world. I want to share this really cool story from you in John chapter 4 that talks about this. All right, so here's the scripture passage. It says, Jesus, tired from the long walk, sat wearily beside the well about noontime. Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, hey, please give me a drink. The woman was surprised, for Jews refused to have anything to do with Samaritans. She said to Jesus, whoa, you are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan woman. Why are you asking me for a drink? So a little background here. So the Jews and the Samaritans were like racially divided. Jews did not like Samaritans. Samaritans did not like Jews. It was like Samaritans were like second-class citizens. Like, think about it like back in the 50s when schools were being integrated. You see these idiot white kids who are like, we won't go to school with Negroes. You're an idiot. What are you thinking, right? But that's how it was, right? They did not want to be paired with blacks, and blacks were like scared of the whites and what's going to happen. And so there was this incredible tension. You might also think about it like this. That's how some Americans feel about Muslims. You know, Muslims go home. Or what we see in the media a lot is we see how ISIS and the Taliban look at Americans. There's this incredible tension. Or what's even worse is how Browns and Steelers fans treat each other. I mean, you understand that tension together, right? So here is this lady with this. She's like, hey, you're a Jew, I'm a Samaritan. Why are you even talking to me, right? Not only that, but she was a woman. And you're like, well, yeah, way to go. You're really, really smart. Check this out. Jesus says, go and get your husband. I don't have a husband, the woman replied. Jesus said, you're right. You don't have a husband, for you have had 5 husbands, and you aren't even married to the man you're living with now. You certainly spoke the truth. Now here's the deal. Back in those times, women were only valuable if you could produce babies. So if you couldn't have babies, like literally, your husband could divorce you because you couldn't provide him a child. Now, of course, back then, they didn't realize that half of that is the man. It could be the man's problem that you can't have a baby, but somehow the woman was blamed for it. You know, women couldn't vote. Women were judged on the length of their hair. If you had short hair, you weren't beautiful. If you had long hair, you were incredibly valuable. And again, if you couldn't produce children, you weren't valuable. Women weren't allowed unless it was dire straits. They couldn't own a business or operate a business. Their role was to be in the home. And they were expected to be remain pure and to be a virgin until they were married. And if they weren't, like someone could divorce you because you weren't a virgin when you were married. Of course, there was no rule on the guys, right? We can prove that with the guys, allegedly. So it's just a really horrible place to be a woman. And not only a woman, but a woman who's had 5 different husbands, and then a woman who's shacking up with her boyfriend at that point, right? So, like, This woman is someone that is only coming out during the day. She's embarrassed. People have talked rumors about her. And on top of this, she's a Samaritan, right? And then the disciples start freaking out. Check it out. Like just then, Jesus' disciples come back, and they were shocked to find him talking to a woman. But none of them had the nerve to ask, what do you want with her? Or why are you talking to her? Jesus was so different. They couldn't believe that Jesus would give her the time of day. They wouldn't believe that Jesus would value her, this person who clearly had no value in their world. Here Jesus was treating her like a normal person. Everyone recognized her as being worthless, unimportant, not valuable, but not Jesus. Jesus gives us the idea of we need to value what God values. And that's the key to a healthy relationship, is valuing what God values. Because he made each and every one of you. You were created in God's image. You are valuable just for you, just for being you. You're valuable because God says you are. You have a thing called intrinsic worth and value because you were created in God's image. And not only that, but God sacrificed his son for you. He loved you so much that he traded his son's life for you because he loves you. He's wild about you. He cares about you. And all he wants for you is to have the best life ever, the life that he created for you. And so that is what real value is. And so our challenge to you to have real relationships is to value what God values. When you value what God values, your friends are going to appreciate you so much. They're going to see you as a true friend who doesn't treat other people the way other people treat them. When you value what God values, you'll have deep, healthy, beautiful, healthy relationships. I said healthy twice. Is that good? When you value what God values, you can tell your future spouse that, hey, since March 4th, 2018, I have remained sexually pure for you as a gift to you for our wedding. When you value what God values, you don't have to hide your phone or the pictures on your phone. You don't have to hide your internet history. When you value what God values, you know that you can be proud that you know that you are a good friend. You can feel pride that the way you treat other people is changing the way other people view them, just like how Jesus treated that woman. When you value what God values, you can feel awesome knowing that you're changing the world and bringing honor and glory to God. And when you value what God values, you'll never have to take a picture like with duck lips ever again. Never. So right there is why you should do it.
But that's her ring.
So whether it's for yourself or for others, value what God values. And when you do that, I promise your relationships will change for the better. So today, as you head to small groups, I want you to be asking this question: how can I better value what God values? How can I better value what God values? All right.